Metal Interview.
And we welcome you once more to our podcast, That Metal Interview podcast. And your friend James once more. Thank you for your support from all these thousands and thousands of other podcasts out there, right? So thank you guys. This episode involves Jason Brown of Cycotic Youth. These guys are from California. Visually, to me, they kind of look like Suicidal Tendencies. And I don't want to call them punk rock because he's going to tell us the actual genre that this falls under. So anyways, we'll let you guys be the judge, okay? So check it out. Let's listen to Cyco Up. That's C-Y-C-O, Cyco Up. This is the band's latest, newest single and video. Enjoy, man. We'll be right back. Very rockish, complete, awesome American rock. I would call it punk rock. Some people might call it something else. So anyways, it's badass rock to me. So here is our interview with Mr. Jason Brown of Cycotic Youth. Enjoy. Cycotic Youth, you guys have a new single, Cycofied. First single in about 30 years. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we did a reunion show about 5 years ago, and we did it with some of the original members. It was just to do it for basically for a friend of ours for his benefit, and it kind of started, more promoters started calling us, and the band started taking off, and me and my brother started it back in 84, 83-ish, and we got some new members and started to play more gigs and write some new tunes. And basically we went into the studio with Nick Jett. He's a drummer from Terror, and we were doing pre-production at the time, and my brother decided to move back to Las Vegas. So at the time we were in the studio, so Nick Jett actually played on this record. So yeah,
awesome. So
we have a full length that we coming out this summer, but Cycofied is the single we just dropped, and it's going really well for us.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Is there a full-length album coming in the future, you know?
Yes, sir. We got 12 bangers. This album's called Cyco Up.
Okay, cool.
And we're still working with labels right now. Just got management, so we're shopping a couple labels, Century Media, and a couple other people are interested. But we'll see how it goes at the time. We're going to release a couple more singles, a couple more videos, and we're going to go from there.
So have you guys been jamming here and there? I mean, the 30-year hiatus, I guess you mentioned.
Yes, yeah. Yes, myself, my brother took off in around 1990, and I joined a thrash metal band called EVOL, and we played with like Dark Angel, Pantera, King Diamond, XL. We played with a lot, and I kind of just traveled through the changing of music, and that went on for a couple years. We had a deal on the table from Hollywood Records, which was owned by Disney at the time, and it didn't work out for us, but I stayed with that band for a few more years, and then kind of just did some side projects here and there. Got into another project called Strapped. We had an album deal with a Seattle-based company called Hawaiian Records. We toured over in Europe, and we did a release in 2005. It was called Los Anarchy Chaosfornia. We opened up for Snoop Dogg over there in Europe.
Wow.
And, yeah, so that was pretty good, and we kept moving at the time, and then some members started changing, and people started moving away, and but I still continued. The guitar player that's in Cycotic Youth now, his name is Rob McHale. He played in a thrash metal band from Venice here called Crooks on Sada, and me and him had a side project called Sick Shop. It was more hardcore thrash metal kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been keeping it up, brother, since I was 15. So this one is probably my best stuff yet, and I'm just stoked for it to be out there.
I guess once a musician, always a musician, huh?
Yeah, that's true, brother. I'm a full-time tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Been tattooing 25 years.
Awesome.
It's called ST Tattoo Studio, and me and Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies, we opened it up in '98.
Yeah, awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
So you know Mike.
Yeah, brother. We've been born and raised in Santa Monica and Venice area. We've been friends for 30 years, 30 plus, and I used to go on tour with them and tattoo on the road, and help them. I was a bass tech for a while, and yeah, man, we're still friends to this day. It's a very good friend of mine, and we still keep in touch a lot, man.
Wow, that's so cool. Knowing Mike Muir personally, that's very cool.
Yeah, definitely, good guy.
Yeah, how would you categorize your band's genre? Would you say it's punk rock, or would you say it's something else?
It's a little bit more, I would say, on the hardcore level.
Yeah.
But we get some more heavy groove. I think that people get things mixed up, because all I think when I think of punk rock and hardcore, I just think hardcore is punk rock with metal guitars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think we're more on the hardcore metal genre, but we have some songs that we did bring back from the old days, and kind of everyone's kind of graduating, playing their instruments. Everyone's gotten better. Everyone's got a little older and more technical.
Yeah.
And getting in the studio with Nick Jett just kind of brought us to that level, especially with him playing drums, because we added more double bass, we added more up tempo beats, and everything's a little bit more angry, a little more punchier. So yeah, I would call it hardcore for sure.
Hardcore. There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
So take us back to your beginnings in music. At what age did you first know you liked rock and metal, and all that?
When I met Mike, it was probably '83 that I met him, and the first album came out on Frontier.
Sometimes I try to do things and it just doesn't work out the way I want it to, and I get real frustrated. And I try hard to do it, and I take my time, but it just doesn't work out the way I want it to. It's like I concentrate on real hard, but it just doesn't work out. And everything I do and everything I try, it never turns out. It's like I need time to figure these things out.
Their debut album, and at that time, they were just a local punk band and playing backyard parties and empty halls and stuff. And he pulled up in his Maverick with a trailer on the back. They were going up to do a tour, and he handed me that record. I'm like, wow, this is a trip, man. And I started listening to that. I was probably 14. Started getting into like the English punk, Exploited, like Discharge and stuff like that. And then around '84, I saw my first show right here in Santa Monica, and it was Black Flag, the Misfits, and the Vandals.
Oh wow!
And man, that was like, especially the Misfits. It was just like, man, when the lights went off, it was just terrifying. But, been getting into it ever since, along with all kinds of different styles, from jazz to hip hop to whatever, oldies, soul, but my love for music is definitely hard, heavy stuff like the stuff that we're playing.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard the song, and it's a badass song, Cycofied. Very cool. Who are your heroes? Who do you point as your musical heroes in life?
Well, dude, right now I love bands like Kill Switch Engage.
Yeah.
Bands like like Hatebreed, obviously Exploited, but Deftones. Man, Deftones has been a big influence on me, even though our stuff doesn't really sound like that. But anything from the Ghetto Boys to Aggression to Al Green, I love it all. And I expose myself to music. I expose my kids to the music, and Mike's been a big influence business-wise, friend-wise. The dude is just running up and down the stage. He's got good stamina, and I look up to him, and he's also a businessman. So I see how he works, and I see how he does it, and man, it just coming from the neighborhood and playing the backyard parties with bands like No Mercy and bands like XL. It really kind of brought us to the plateau of that. We call it the West Side Sound, the West Side of Los Angeles, and it's something that's very special that comes out of only this area,
Right.
Back in those days, in the punk rock days, you were either American punk, English, or you were a suicidal punk, and people couldn't understand it, where these guys look like friggin' cholos, where they got mohawks, and they're wearing Pendletons and bandanas, and they're on skateboards. So, the skate punk scene just kind of flew off, and then they came out with Join the Army, their second album, and it just kind of put everybody on the plateau that is from this area, because people could understand that type of music.
Yeah. So speaking of Cycotic Youth, you mentioned about 83, 84. That's when the band started, give or take.
Sir.
How did that begin? Whose idea was that?
Well,
or
me and my brother and a couple friends of mine, we there was like ST was playing, and there was a lot of bands coming out of here, so we're like, let's start a punk band. And at the time we didn't have any money, so my buddy, our first guitar player, he built his own guitar in wood shop, and my brother was actually playing on some recycling cans. We just do that do that D-beat shit, you know, and
Yeah.
I was singing out of a bass amp and a cheap microphone, and finally we all got good gear. We brought another homie in to play bass, and we started kind of doing the backyard party circuit over here on the west side. It was very, you know, kegger parties, and we, you know, back then the Sunset Strip was all hair metal, you know, so there was no punk rock on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood. So we really wanted to play at the famous Roxy. So what we did is we went into the studio and recorded a very, very metal song, and you know, approached the promoter, said, "Yeah, we're metal." And then when we got there, we ended up playing punk rock, and it turned into a friggin' riot. They, you know, tried to take us off the stage. The cops came and tried to arrest people, and so yeah, man, it started kind of flying off from there. And before we had the name Cycotic Youth, we were a band called Delinquent Society.
Okay.
And then, you know, the whole Cyco thing, where you spell it CYCO, is how we would skate. Those were our, you know, let's get Cyco.
Yeah.
And you know, so we said, you know, let's change it to Cycotic Youth and spell it different. And here we are 30 years later with Cycofied, and the video, it's got a bunch of unreleased footage of Jay Adams skating, and there's a lot of extreme sports in the video, and everyone that's in the video doing those extreme sports, they're in my band. The guitar player does motocross, the drummer does BMX, and then my bass player does downhill skating. So, you know, we come from that area. We do those things. We're just not people that just decided to do it. We bring that edge. And so we said, hey man, let's get Cycofied. Let's put everything into it. You fall down, you get back up. And that song was dedicated to Jay. He passed away some years back. So I said, you know what? Let's get some footage of people skating and doing what we do. And man, here we are with the full-length album, and we're just you know, bringing it back from our roots, but a little bit more technical.
Very cool. That's an original title right there, Cycofied. Very, very original.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're digging on it, dude. And the cover features a picture of Jay skating at the old Venice Boardwalk, where there was no skate park. So we would just get plywood and put it up against the walls, and we would bring these big crowds, the people that were coming down to Venice Beach, and tourists. And, you know, you had guys like Christian Hosoi skating down there, Eric Dressen, all these big names got started down there skating.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, man.
Can we expect, I'm in Texas, can we expect the band to come down here sometime? A tour,
Definitely,
I guess.
bro. Definitely working on trying to tour this album. Working on a booking agent right now, and we'll definitely get out there as soon as possible. Hopefully doing a release for the full length this summer. And yeah, if you go to our social media at Cycotic Youth Official, you'll be able to see all our tour dates and everything that's going on. Definitely.
Very cool. So that was one of my questions. Where can the people find you guys on Instagram and all that? You guys have all the socials, right?
Yeah, I got all the socials. The main social is Instagram at Cycotic Youth Official, or Facebook. We're working on a new Facebook. Had to change some things around. It'll be on all download platforms. Our single is available on all download platforms right now. And we're going to release a limited vinyl. And then hopefully next year we'll be releasing cassette and vinyl in Japan.
Nice.
For a Japan release, definitely.
Would you like to send a message to the Cycotic Youth fanatics listening to this podcast?
Yeah, man. Go on those platforms, man. Download Cycofied. We'll be seeing you guys in a town near you. Let's get Cycofied and fuck shit up.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Thank you for your time. And I hope to see you on the road.
Man.
And I can't wait for the full length.
Yes, sir, brother. Cool, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Mr. Jason Brown. Thank you for being a part of our podcast. That Metal Interview Podcast. And we thank you guys for listening to our conversations with these rock stars and metal stars. So truly appreciate it. On behalf of myself, James. And don't forget to support Cycotic Youth, CYCOTIC Youth. Cycotic Youth, look them up on their socials. Their latest video, Cyco Up, you guys heard it a little bit earlier. You saw it. It depends if you're watching the YouTube video for this or if you're listening to the audio versions on Spotify and all that. So that was the latest single from Cycotic Youth. It's called Cyco Up, CYCO Up. So check it out. Support them. Look for their stores online or in person if you catch them on tour. And purchase merchandise so that way we keep all rock metal acts afloat, financially. So support these acts, support rock metal if you're a metal head. So awesome. So thank you guys, and don't forget to keep it metal.
That Metal Interview.